he overthrew his own father. He swallowed a prophecy whole and waged a war that shook the foundations of the earth. He split the world into 3 kingdoms and claimed the sky as his throne. He was worshipped for over 1,000 years. Temples were built in his name. Armies prayed to him before battle, and even today, thousands of years after the last offering was placed at his altar, his name is known in every corner of the world. This is the complete story of Zeus, king of the gods, ruler of Olympus, and the most powerful figure in Greek mythology. Before there were gods, there were titans. These ancient beings ruled the cosmos in a time before time, and the most powerful among them was Kronos, the titan of time itself. Kronos had risen to power by overthrowing his own father, Uranos, the god of the sky. He castrated Uranos with a sickle and cast him aside, seizing control of the universe. But victory came with a curse. Uranos, in his final moments, made a prophecy that Kronos too would be overthrown by one of his own children. That prophecy consumed Kronos. It wrapped itself around his mind and would not let go. So, when his wife, Rhea, began to bear him children, Kronos did something unthinkable. He ate them. One by one, as each child was born, Kronos swallowed them whole. Hestia, the firstborn, then Demeter, then Hera, then Hades, then Poseidon. 5 children, all devoured by their own father, trapped alive inside his stomach in total darkness. Rhea was devastated. 5 children, all gone. And now she was pregnant again, carrying her 6th child. She knew that if she did nothing, this child would meet the same fate as the others. So Rhea made a plan. When the child was born on the island of Crete, she hid him away in a cave on Mount Ida. She wrapped a stone in swaddling cloth and presented it to Kronos, and Kronos, blind with paranoia, swallowed the stone without a second thought. The child Rhea saved was Zeus. Zeus grew up in secret, raised by nymphs, and fed on the milk of a divine goat named Amalthea. The Curetes, a group of warrior guardians, clashed their shields and weapons together to drown out the sound of the baby's cries so Kronos would never discover him. And in that hidden cave, far from his father's reach, Zeus grew strong. When Zeus reached adulthood, he did not hide any longer. He went to his father disguised as a cupbearer, a servant, and offered Kronos a drink laced with a powerful emetic. Kronos drank, and one by one he vomited up the 5 children he had swallowed. First came the stone, then Poseidon, Hades, Hera, Demeter, and Hestia, all fully grown, all alive, and all furious. Together the 6 children of Kronos declared war on the Titans. This was the Titanomachy, a conflict so vast that the ancient Greeks said it shook the pillars of the earth and cracked the sky. The war lasted 10 brutal years. The Titans were powerful, ancient, enormous, and experienced. For a decade, neither side could gain the upper hand. The world burned, mountains crumbled, the seas boiled, and the ground split open. Then Zeus made a decision that turned the tide. Deep beneath the earth, Kronos had imprisoned the Cyclopes and the Hecatonchires, the 100-handed giants. These beings had been locked away because even the Titans feared their power. Zeus freed them. In gratitude, the Cyclopes forged 3 legendary weapons. For Zeus, they created the thunderbolt, a weapon of pure, unstoppable energy. For Poseidon, they forged the trident, which could command the seas and shatter the earth. And for Hades, they crafted the helm of darkness, which made its wearer completely invisible. Armed with the thunderbolt, Zeus unleashed devastation on the Titans. The 100-handed giants hurled mountains like stones. The sky itself seemed to catch fire, and one by one the Titans fell. Kronos, the great devourer, the lord of time, was defeated by the very sun he had tried to destroy. Zeus and his brothers cast the defeated Titans into Tartarus, the deepest, darkest pit of the underworld, and sealed them behind bronze gates for eternity. The age of the Titans was over. The age of the gods had begun. With the Titans defeated, the three brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, drew lots to divide the cosmos between them. Poseidon drew the seas. Every ocean, every river, every lake, the entire water world became his domain. He would rule from a palace beneath the waves, commanding storms and sea creatures alike. Hades drew the underworld, the realm of the dead, the land of shadows, where every mortal soul would eventually arrive. It was not a punishment, it was a kingdom. A dark one, but a kingdom nonetheless. And Zeus drew the sky, the heavens, the clouds, the storms, and the lightning, all of it belonged to him. He established his throne on Mount Olympus, the highest peak in Greece, and declared himself king of the gods. The earth itself was shared between all three, neutral ground. But, make no mistake, Zeus was supreme. He was not merely a king among equals, he was the final authority. When disputes arose among the gods, it was Zeus who settled them. When the cosmic order was threatened, it was Zeus who restored it. And so the court of Olympus was established. 12 gods would sit in the great hall, the Olympians, and Zeus would rule over them all. Zeus did not simply sit on his throne and watch the world from a distance. He was deeply involved in the affairs of both gods and mortals, and many of the most famous stories in Greek mythology revolve around him. One of the most important is the story of Prometheus. Prometheus was a Titan who had sided with Zeus during the war. He was clever, perhaps too clever, and he cared deeply about humanity. When Prometheus saw that humans were struggling in the cold and darkness, he stole fire from the gods and gave it to mankind. Zeus was enraged. Fire was not meant for mortals, it was a power of the gods. To Zeus, this was not an act of compassion, it was an act of defiance against the cosmic order, and Zeus did not tolerate defiance, and he punished Prometheus with one of the most brutal sentences in all of mythology. Zeus had Prometheus chained to a rock in the Caucasus Mountains, where every single day a giant eagle would descend and tear open his body to feast on his liver. And because Prometheus was immortal, the liver would regenerate overnight, and the torture would begin again the next morning, day after day, for eternity. But Zeus's punishment did not end with Prometheus. He also turned his attention to humanity itself. Zeus ordered the creation of Pandora, the first woman according to Greek myth, and sent her to earth carrying a jar, often mistranslated as a box. Inside it were all the evils of the world: disease, suffering, greed, envy, and death. When Pandora opened it, those evils poured out and spread across the earth forever. Only one thing remained at the bottom of the jar: hope. This story reveals something essential about Zeus. He was not a kind god. He was not a gentle father figure watching over the world with warmth. He was a ruler. He maintained order, and the price of defying that order was devastating. Zeus could be generous, but he could be ruthless in equal measure. Life on Olympus was far from peaceful. The gods were powerful, but they were also petty, jealous, and proud. And Zeus, despite being the supreme ruler, was at the center of much of the conflict. His marriage to Hera was legendary, not for its love, but for its fury. Zeus was unfaithful on an almost unimaginable scale. He pursued mortals and goddesses alike, often disguising himself to do so. He became a bull to seduce Europa, a swan to approach Leda, a shower of golden rain to reach Danae, who had been locked away in a tower. These affairs produced some of the greatest heroes and figures in Greek mythology. Perseus, who slew Medusa, was the son of Zeus and Danae. Heracles, known to the Romans as Hercules, was the son of Zeus and the mortal woman Alcmene. Helen of Troy, whose beauty launched the Trojan War, was the daughter of Zeus and Leda. But Hera's vengeance was fierce. She could not punish Zeus directly, so she turned her wrath on his lovers and their children. She sent serpents to kill the infant Heracles in his crib. She cursed Io, one of Zeus's lovers, transforming her into a cow and tormenting her across the world. She drove Dionysus to madness. Hera's rage was relentless, and it wove through countless stories like a thread of fire. Even the other gods challenged Zeus at times. Once, Hera, Poseidon, and Athena conspired to overthrow him. They bound Zeus in chains while he slept. It was only when the 100-handed giant Briareus, loyal to Zeus, came to free him that the rebellion failed. Zeus punished Hera by suspending her from the sky in golden chains, a reminder that even his queen was not beyond his authority. Zeus was worshipped across the Greek world for over 1,000 years. The Temple of Zeus at Olympia housed one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, a statue of Zeus so enormous and so magnificent that ancient writers said anyone who looked upon it forgot all their earthly sorrows. The Olympic Games were held in his honour. Oaths were sworn in his name. He was Zeus Xenios, the protector of guests and travellers, Zeus Horkios, the guardian of oaths, Zeus Soter, the saviour. He had dozens of titles, each reflecting a different role he played in the lives of ordinary people. But Zeus was not a perfect god. That was never the point. The Greeks did not create their gods to be role models. They created them to be mirrors, reflections of the best and worst of human nature, amplified to a cosmic scale. Zeus was powerful and wise, but also jealous and cruel. He maintained order, but often at a terrible cost. He was, in every sense, the most human of the gods. And perhaps that is why his story has survived for over 3,000 years. Because in Zeus we see something we recognize: the desire for power, the fear of being overthrown, the struggle between justice and selfishness, the weight of being the one who must decide. He was the king of the gods, and his story is far from over. If you want to hear more stories like this, our next video covers Odin, the Norse god who sacrificed his own eye for wisdom and spent his life preparing for the end of the world. Subscribe so you don't miss it. And if there's a god, a myth, or a legend you want us to cover, drop it in the comments. We'll see you in the next tale.